So before I head over to the hardware store, I want to see exactly what kind of connection this thing have. So might be able to reuse this flexible pipe, despite the inspector said I need a PVC pipe, because I think this would save a lot more trouble of me converting and buying more unnecessary stuff at this point. Holy cow. So yeah, looks like I can probably reuse this pipe. I'm gonna get a new, this looks like 1.5 inch to 1.25 inch. So that's exactly what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna go buy an adapter and then buy a new pump, and basically all I'm gonna do is replace the pump at this point. Let's see, it's really dirty. But I want to show you guys this little frog that lives over here. It's still there. I'm gonna take it outside because leaving it here, it's gonna starve to death. Let's see if I can grab him. All right, got the little guy. Gonna get him outside. This is 1/3 horsepower, 48 gallons per minute at 10-foot rated sump pump. So the reason I got this is because my current sump pump is actually broken. So yesterday night I got a warning from my dehumidifier, says there's a flooding in my basement. So I went down to the basement and I found out my sump pump actually failed, and it was making a humming sound. The pump is not actually spinning. The power was on and the water was overflowing. So I went to Home Depot and I got this rigid sump pump. It's got a stainless steel barrel, or like stainless steel casting for the body. And on the base and on the top, I think it's cast iron. So it's coated cast iron with like really thick paint. This is one of the newer, I guess, a newer design where the weight is saved and the body is being used. The stainless steel is being used for the body, so it supposedly lasts longer and it's slightly lighter in weight, and it still runs ultra quiet. So it's got a 5-year warranty, which I think it's the best on the market as far as my research goes. From all those major hardware stores, this one comes with the longest warranty of 5 years. The rest of the pump usually 2 to 3 years warranty. So we're gonna open up the packaging and then we're gonna take a look at what's inside, and then I'm gonna go downstairs into my basement. Then we're gonna install this little thing. So because my old pump is very similar, all I bought as a replacement is a new sump pump check valve. This goes directly onto the sump pump, and there's a little valve inside. So basically, the water only flows one way. It's like your heart. There's a valve, and your blood only flows one way. This is like the same method. So this check valve is about, I think, $8 at the hardware store. The rigid sump pump is $169 at the hardware store. And they have a bulk package option. If you buy 3, it comes down to $130. So essentially, if you buy 3 and you keep one and sell the other 2, you might get some money back. I don't know, maybe. So let's get started. And I think this is one of the newer design with stainless steel barrel. There are a few other companies that also does stainless steel barrels, but this one comes with longest warranty that I can find. So over here you have your typical manual. Basically, this is supposed to be sitting at a sump pump basin. It's basically a bucket over there, but my basement is very primitive, so I only have a hole digged over there. Eventually I might convert it into a proper sump pump basin, but for now we're just gonna focus on what this thing offers. It's actually it's much more heavy than my current pump, which is mostly plastic with a cast iron base. But this one is actually it's a lot more heavier, let's just say it that way. But it's not as heavy as the full cast iron design from some other manufacturers that I tried at the hardware store. Comes with a 3-prong power cable and stainless steel handle, a stainless steel, I guess this is what they call the guard. So it's got, so this is like a locking action, I don't know how do you call it, float switch. And it actually feels very heavy duty. Honestly, it feels very heavy duty. So this is the float. The float is pretty heavy too. It's not a plastic one. This is more like a solid float. And the switch, if you don't have any weight on there, the switch clicks onto the place and keeps the pump on. But if you have the switch over here, it only comes on when when it actually hits it at the top, okay? And then it goes off once this thing drops to the bottom, okay? And this is a guard, so nothing bumps onto it. There is your power cable. So I don't know if it needs a additional hookup for the float switch or not. Hopefully it's just a one switch design that I don't have to, fiddle with the extra switch over there. I don't know, but we'll find out soon. On the other side, the base is cast iron, by the way, stainless steel, and on the top, surprisingly, it's plastic. So it's not cast iron. Just so you guys know, this is a 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch, I think, MPT thread. So basically, you just align your check valve nice and straight, and then you drop it in there. So for this, I'm gonna have to cut the bottom part because this is basically an adapter that you can custom cut to get the exact size you want. So I'm gonna have to cut this later on. But the pump is very it's straightforward. It's you just grab it and then you go down to your basement and put it up there, put it down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the manual to see if there's any additional things I need to do. Otherwise, I'm gonna come back in the next section of the video, and then we're gonna continue with the installation. So we're just taking a closer look at the sump pump. Over here again, it's a hole, and I actually went outside, used my saw to cut off the additional one that's too long to reach the bottom. So now I can just basically get it nicely rotated and installed on the sump pump. Okay, so I forgot to mention this pump has a dual suction area. So there's one suction area over here on the side, another section area is at the bottom of the basin. It's kind of hard to see over here. Let's see. So like right here, so two areas that sucks air. And also I read through the manual, it doesn't require a additional wire for the check valve, not the check valve, I'm sorry, for the float. So just one button, and when the water level reaches here, it automatically turns on. So that's a good thing. So let's go down to the basement. I guess one last thing is just showing you guys what's going on. This is a typical setup. So you have the basin, which is a plastic container, and you have PVC pipes, hard pipes, not wired, but connected directly to the sump pump. But my basement has a flex pipe, so I'm gonna use that until it breaks again, and then I might convert it into a proper sump pump basin with proper size or whatever that it requires. But for now, we need a temporary fix. So this is what a typical setup looks like. It's not gonna look like mine down in the basement. And over here, there's a product warranty guide. So based on the 5-year warranty, the expected life of this sump pump is about 6 years. Keep that in mind. But anytime the sump pump breaks within the 5 years, you can get a replacement. So hopefully that replacement would give you a few more years of life out of the one purchase that you're gonna make. Okay. It does require a GFCI protected outlet, which I have in the basement, so that's good. But let's go down there and let's just put this new one back in there and then see what's going on. So before I do that, I'm just gonna screw this on there. Hand tighten, don't use a tool, and it should be enough like tightening force to get it installed, like so. All right, I'll try to show you guys where it is. Oh, right here. Okay, so let's go down. And my air purifier, I have to turn it off because it goes to the sump pump, and now it's stopped working. All right, let's get here. So here in my basement, this is the broken one. Looks like a very cheaply made model. It's too rusty to tell what kind of sump pump it is, but it's a very cheap one. This one, hopefully it's gonna do its job. But now what I'm worried about is the clearance for the sump pump. So this one, it's pretty small, but this one is pretty big. So let's see. So I hooked up the existing flex tube with existing clamp to the new check valve on here. I also connected the power right there. So I'm just gonna submerge it and see if it actually would trigger the water valve. Okay. And I have a feeling it might not be, this pit might not be deep enough. So but I'm gonna manually trigger the sump pump and see it would actually just suck all the existing water out for now. Turning it on. Wow. It's about I would say like 2-3 times the speed of the sump pump I had before, and it's super quiet. There's no noise at all. But as a permanent solution, I probably need to actually dig a bigger area and a deeper hole for this sump pump to work, because right now the hole is not shallow, it's not deep enough, so it doesn't really trigger, because the water have to be like very, very high for it to trigger, and at this point it's not triggering. However, seems to be working. So I got my dehumidifier working again, and it's gonna do its magic, pumping out lots of water. I have a kind of man-made G-trap over there. Water goes through, and then it goes into my sump pump. This is a rigid 1/3 horsepower sump pump, and hopefully it's working. So the required minimum clearance for the water, or the required minimum clearance, is 22 inch, which is something like that. And obviously my sump pump is definitely not 22 inches right here, so I need to dig a lot deeper to get this sump pump in its optimal working condition. right now it kind of works, and I believe it should still be able to trigger the float once the water level goes dangerously high. It should still trigger it. It's just I need to dig it deeper to make sure that it doesn't overflow. So if you guys have any questions about this rigid one third horsepower sump pump, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. But I think it's doing a great job. It's very, very quiet, almost no sound when it's pumping water. And it's got a dual suction area, so it sucks more water out of the pump faster. And right now I'm using flexible hose, so it should be okay using a flexible hose, but this is not a permanent solution. Ideally, you need a PVC pipe connection for the sump pump for most reliable working condition, and also a GFCI outlet. That's pretty much all you need to get it set up. However, keep in mind, my sump pit is not typical. This is one of the cheaply made, quickly dug sump pit. It's not done by me, it's by the previous homeowner, which is doing a horrible job in keeping up with this house. But in a later video, we're gonna actually use a proper tool to dug a much deeper sump pit for the sump pump to work. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.